What if I told you that the most powerful person in a village during the 1800s wasn't the mayor, the doctor, or even the wealthy landowner? No, it was the blacksmith. How could a man with a hammer and an anvil hold so much influence? Did you know that without the blacksmith, villages would crumble, wars would be lost, and survival would be impossible? Every day, the blacksmith forged the tools that shaped the lives of everyone around him, tools that could mean the difference between life and death. Yet, behind the clanging metal and the roaring forge, there was a secret that few people knew about. Blacksmiths weren't just artisans, they were community leaders, problem solvers, and even the unofficial doctors in times of need. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change the way you look at this ancient craft, and you might even find yourself fascinated by the legacy they've left behind. Let's dive in and uncover the vital role the blacksmith played in shaping the world we know today. Imagine stepping back in time to a small village in the 1800s. The sounds of daily life, children playing, women chatting by the well, farmers tending their crops, fill the air. But there's one sound that stands out above the rest: the rhythmic clanging of a hammer against metal. This is the heartbeat of the village, echoing through the streets. It's coming from the blacksmith's forge, the center of life in many communities. The blacksmith wasn't just a tradesman, he was the tradesman. If a farmer needed a plow to till the soil, he turned to the blacksmith. If a soldier needed a sword to fight in battle, he relied on the blacksmith's craft. Horses, the lifeblood of transportation and agriculture, needed horseshoes made to perfection by the blacksmith. The truth is, the blacksmith wasn't just shaping metal, he was shaping society itself. Without him, the village would come to a standstill. It's hard to imagine today how crucial this role was. But in those days, the blacksmith was the backbone of every community. He was the lifeline that kept everything running smoothly, from fixing broken tools to keeping the wheels of society turning. And while many other jobs were vital, none had quite the same influence and necessity. The blacksmith didn't just provide for physical needs, he provided a sense of security and stability. As you can see, the blacksmith wasn't merely a craftsman, he was a vital force that connected the past to the present. And in the next part, we'll dive deeper into the skills and craft that made blacksmithing such an essential and respected trade. Stay tuned, because we're about to reveal just how this simple, yet powerful trade became the backbone of every village and shaped the course of history. To truly understand the power of the blacksmith, we must dive into the heart of his craft. Picture the scene: a roaring fire, the air thick with the scent of burning coal, and the rhythmic sound of a hammer striking glowing metal. The blacksmith's world wasn't just about making things, it was about creating something that could stand the test of time. The process was as much an art as it was a science. First, the blacksmith would carefully heat the metal in his forge, making it soft enough to shape but not too soft to lose its strength. This delicate balance was crucial. Too much heat, and the metal could become brittle. Too little, and it wouldn't bend the way it needed to. Every strike of the hammer, every turn of the tongs, was done with precision and care. It's a skill that takes years to master, one that demands patience, experience, and an intuitive understanding of metal and fire. But blacksmithing wasn't just about creating weapons or tools. It was about innovation. A blacksmith was a problem solver. Whether he was crafting a custom horseshoe for a horse with a peculiar gait or inventing new ways to make life a little easier for the villagers. Imagine the satisfaction a blacksmith must have felt when he forged a new tool that could improve the efficiency of farming or help in building a stronger home. His creations weren't just objects, they were solutions to problems that could change someone's life. Personally, I've always admired how the blacksmith combined craftsmanship with ingenuity. It wasn't just about making things. It was about making them better, stronger, more useful. That's what made this craft so special. And what's truly remarkable is that, even today, we still rely on the principles of blacksmithing. While the tools and techniques have evolved, the basic skills remain at the core of many modern trades. Now that we've explored the artistry and skills behind blacksmithing, it's time to take a look at how this vital trade went beyond just the forge. The blacksmith wasn't only known for his craftsmanship, he was also at the center of community life. Stay with me, because the next chapter reveals the surprising role the blacksmith played in the social fabric of every village. The blacksmith's forge wasn't just a place of work, it was the heartbeat of the village. Imagine walking into a small village in the 1800s. You hear the rhythmic pounding of metal. And as you approach the forge, you see a familiar scene, the blacksmith, standing tall over his anvil, hammering away at the glowing metal. But what's truly fascinating is that this wasn't just a place for creating tools. It was a social space, a gathering place where everyone came together. Whether they needed work done or simply wanted to catch up. The blacksmith's shop was where news traveled fastest. The village gossip? It was always buzzing around the forge. The blacksmith didn't just craft tools, he crafted relationships. People would stop by, not only to get their horseshoes repaired or to have a new plow made, but also to talk about what was happening in the village, to share stories, or to discuss local matters. In a time when there was no social media, no radio, and no newspapers, the blacksmith's forge was the place where everyone got their news firsthand. I often think about how, in today's fast-paced world, we've lost some of that sense of community. People don't always gather in one central spot anymore to connect and exchange ideas. But back then, the blacksmith was more than just a craftsman, he was a community leader. His shop was where people gathered, shared, and even solved problems together. It's incredible how one person's skill could bring a whole village together, providing both practical tools and a sense of belonging. The blacksmith also had a unique role during times of crisis. When disaster struck, be it a war, a natural disaster, or just a broken tool needed for survival, villagers would turn to him for help. His ability to fix what others couldn't, his ability to create something that kept life running smoothly, made him indispensable. The blacksmith's forge wasn't just about metal and fire, it was about keeping the heart of the community strong and resilient. As we move forward, we'll explore how blacksmiths didn't just create physical tools, but how their work became essential to the survival of the village. Stay with me, because the next chapter will reveal just how their craft became a life-saving force in many ways, far beyond what we might expect. Let's take a moment to appreciate the tools that made blacksmithing possible. Imagine stepping into a blacksmith's shop for the first time. The heat from the forge is almost unbearable, and the sounds of metal striking metal echo around you. But as you look around, you start to notice the intricate tools that make everything possible: hammers, anvils, tongs, chisels, all designed with a purpose. Each tool was more than just an object, it was a vital part of creating something that could shape the very fabric of the community. The most iconic tool of the blacksmith is, of course, the hammer. But it wasn't just any hammer. The hammer used by the blacksmith had to be perfectly balanced and weighted to give the precise amount of force needed to shape the metal. And then, there's the anvil, a solid, unyielding block that supported the metal as it was hammered into shape. The anvil itself became the foundation of the blacksmith's work, an essential partner in every creation. One tool I've always found fascinating is the pair of tongs. Tongs might seem simple, but they're incredibly important. They're used to handle the hot metal, making sure the blacksmith doesn't burn his hands while working with temperatures that can reach over 1,000 degrees. These tongs weren't just a tool, they were a lifeline, allowing the blacksmith to shape the metal without harm. But blacksmiths didn't just rely on the tried and true tools, they were innovators. A blacksmith's mind was always working, always thinking about how to make life a little easier, how to improve efficiency, how to make something stronger. Many of the tools we take for granted today, such as the modern wrench or pliers, have their origins in the blacksmith's shop. In fact, some of the first versions of agricultural tools, like the plow, were born from the blacksmith's ingenuity. The blacksmith didn't just fix things, he created solutions that had a profound impact on the way people lived. I've always admired how a blacksmith could take raw materials, often nothing more than scrap metal, and turn them into tools that would shape entire industries and societies. They didn't just use tools, they were constantly thinking about how to improve them. And what's even more impressive is how their innovations, although born out of necessity, ended up shaping the world we live in today. Now that we've explored the tools and innovations that made blacksmithing such a vital trade, let's move forward and take a look at how the blacksmith's craft was passed down through generations, ensuring that these skills didn't fade into history. Stay tuned, because the next chapter will reveal the incredible legacy the blacksmith left behind and how it still affects us today. As we reflect on the incredible journey of the blacksmith, we realize that their legacy is far from just a historical footnote. The blacksmith wasn't just an artisan crafting tools, they were the lifeblood of the community. An innovator, and a symbol of resilience. The skill and creativity they poured into their work not only shaped the physical world around them but also helped define the spirit of countless villages. What's most striking to me is how the blacksmith's work had a ripple effect, touching every aspect of daily life. From the simplest tools to the most intricate creations, their work allowed people to build, create, and survive in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. The blacksmith didn't just make things, they made life possible. And that's a legacy worth honoring. Even though we no longer rely on blacksmiths the way we once did, their influence is still present. Modern manufacturing, craftsmanship, and even design owe much to the skills and innovations developed by blacksmiths over centuries. Whether it's the tools we use, the buildings we live in, or the vehicles we drive, the foundation of their work still supports us today. Personally, I've always felt a deep respect for the way blacksmiths saw the world, not as it was, but as it could be. They didn't just fix problems, they solved them. They looked at raw materials and saw endless possibilities. Their legacy is a reminder that sometimes, the most profound changes come from the most humble sources. As we conclude this exploration into the world of the blacksmith, I encourage you to think about the ways we can carry that legacy forward in our own lives. How can we take the lessons of craftsmanship, creativity, and resilience, and apply them to our own work and communities? The blacksmith story is not just one of the past, it's a living, breathing part of how we move forward. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope you carry the blacksmith's legacy with you in everything you create. Stay tuned, because in the next video, we'll dive into another fascinating chapter of history that continues to shape our world today.